Andrew, congratulations on a big week. Tell us how it's been, your expectations in introducing the new name and the reception here at Advertising Week.
Yeah, Andy, well, thanks first of all for having me. It's been a terrific week for Ampersand as we launched the rebrand, which has been, I think, gone exceptionally well. And the reception that we've received around the brand, I think there's a genuine level of excitement as we think about transforming the industry. And I've gotten a lot of questions around how we came up with the name Ampersand and the sort of banner of the power of and. And in many ways, it's a nod to the history of the company and the formation of the company. Back in the day, nobody doubted the sound strategy of cable in the local marketplace if you were looking to buy ESPN or CNN or Discovery. But that sound strategy was clouded by executional burden. If you were looking to buy cable in a market like Chicago, you had 8 MSOs and 55 head ends and affidavits in a shoebox, and invoices were 3 months late. And Ampersand, formerly known as NCC Media, rationalized that irrational marketplace by building an infrastructure around data, around platforms, around technology. And as a result, that business segment went from zero to what is today a $6 billion marketplace. And in many respects, that's the same page and the same playbook that we're taking into the next chapter of our organization. This power of federation, of unification across a fragmented TV landscape. And make no mistake, we're doubling down on the power of TV. We think television has attributes that are unrivaled in the marketplace around unparalleled reach, quality, professionally produced, brand-safe content. And with that content, a level of viewer engagement and an emotional connection that's really unrivaled in the media marketplace. So TV has legacy strength that we want to double down on. But as technology and content converge, we think there's an opportunity to layer on new products and new capabilities on top of the TV legacy infrastructure around better data, around better targeting capabilities, ultimately around better measurement solutions. But in order for us to bring the necessary scale in that environment, we need to federate and harmonize across players in the marketplace. How do we bring distributors and programmers together? How do we bring brands and audiences together? How do you bring data and measurement together? So this notion of Ampersand and the power of and is really a nod to that which we once did previous in our first incarnation as a company. How do we now bring that into the next chapter of a modern media industry and really serve as a connective tissue in the marketplace?
So Andrew, could you explain to people who don't know about your market, first of all, the scope of the inventory that you have available and the kind of buyers that are on the platform?
Yeah, I think if you know of our history, we've been in the local television marketplace. And if you look at local TV, that's a $25 billion market. And one of the bits that we announced this week is the federation and harmonization of data, audience insights across 40 million homes of our owner companies, Comcast, Cox, and Charter. And the ability to bring that audience insight, that suite of resources into the local television marketplace, we think is going to transform local TV planning, buying, and measurement. TV in the local marketplace, that $25 billion business, has been planned and executed the same way for the last 80 years. Age, gender, panel, survey-based methodology. And we're not suggesting that we abandon that currency, but how do we begin to complement that with richer audience insights at the local market level? So I'll give you an example. So if you're looking to sell a truck in Boston, the DMA, rather than simply planning and buying against an age, gender, adult 25 to 54 audience segment, there's the ability for us to haul back audience insights from over 1 million homes in the Boston television market and look at what do those audiences watch from a network daypart program screen standpoint, and begin to bring much richer suite of tools into the local television market. So we're really excited about the opportunity to transform a $25 billion local TV marketplace. So that's our core history, if you think of our organization, the history. But we're obviously also getting into the addressable business and working with national brands, and how do we begin to think about leveraging that same data, that same audience intelligence to be able to pursue national brands in the national marketplace as well.
Andrew, so as we understand, you guys are the 2 minutes in the local markets. How might that inventory or that avail expand to say more like 14 minutes? And what would that roadmap look like?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think someone came down from on high in 1980 or whatever year it was with a stone tablet and suggested that there was 2 minutes of inventory for the MVPDs and 14 minutes of inventory for the programmers. And our business has transacted itself in that environment really since its inception. We think with the convergence of technologies, the cable architecture evolves from an analog architecture to digital to cloud-based. It creates an environment where there's a much more dynamic marketplace around looking at that inventory more holistically. So how do we begin to power, and this is really one of the themes that we talked about this week, how do we begin to power the TV ecosystem, not just the 2 minutes, but the 14 minutes with addressable capabilities powered by rich data and advanced measurements such that a marketer, a national marketer, can look at the entire pool of inventory, 16 minutes, with the same data and same targeting capabilities that are available today in the 2 minutes. So one of the pieces that we announced this week was the partnership with OpenAP. And really that is around this premise of how do we begin to offer unified audience segment definitions to a marketer. Obviously, age, gender, there's a common currency in TV today on that basis. How do we begin to think about creating a common currency around advanced audience segments such that a national brand, whether they're buying network television, whether they're buying spot TV, or whether they're buying addressable inventory, can leverage the same data and same audience segments to inform that investment strategy across various distribution points.
And you also had an announcement with Canoe.
Yeah. So really two sides to the same coin as it relates to our partnership with OpenAP and our partnership with Canoe. OpenAP very much focused on audience definitions. How do we commonly define rich audience definitions in the marketplace, as I just discussed a little bit. The partnership with Canoe is how do we then begin to think about bringing technology solutions to the programmer's 14 minutes of inventory such that we can light up addressable capabilities in the live linear environment. As you know, Canoe works currently with all of the leading programmers to enable addressable capabilities in the VOD environment. What we want to do is take those same capabilities and begin to transform them into the live linear environment and begin to activate 14 minutes of addressable inventory on a programmer basis. So we're working very closely with OpenAP to define audience segments, and we're working very closely with our friends at Canoe to begin to think about how do we partner with programmers to bring holistic solutions, whether it's around data, addressability, and measurement into the marketplace.
And finally, Andrew, what about other programmers, OTT operators, other sources of supply? How might that expand?
Yeah, we view TV not as an appliance. We view TV as professionally produced, brand safe content. And however a consumer chooses to access that content, whether it's in an OTT environment, on VOD, on a digital platform, or in live linear, our objective is to be able to aggregate audiences across those screens however a consumer chooses to access it. And how do we begin to think about aggregating impressions with rich data commonly deployed across all of those screens and advanced measurement holistically deployed in a commingled fashion across all of those screens. So from our standpoint, the ability to partner with emerging digital VOD and other programming platforms is going to be a critical driver to the future growth of the organization.
And finally, with all this crowds and glamour here at Advertising Week, local has sort of become the golden child in a way, hasn't it? In a way, you've been in the local media world for a while. It's so interesting how it's come of age, perhaps? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think, it's interesting. We talked about launching what we're describing as our Audience Finder platform, which allows the local TV investment groups in the agency community to begin to access the over 40 million homes worth of viewership data that we have available in an aggregated manner at a DMA level to inform the planning, reporting, and optimization of those local TV schedules. And I'll say, Andy, we've just been out in the marketplace the last few weeks. It's the first time in history, really the first time in the industry's history, that we have that level of granular audience data that can be activated at a local marketplace. And the reception that we've received from the local buying community has been exceptional. There's a significant thirst on their part to be able to complement complement. We're not suggesting we replace Nielsen. We're not suggesting that we replace MRI or Scarborough. But how do we begin to think about complementing that historic data set with advanced insights derived from deterministic census-level data at a market level to help inform the planning, reporting, and optimization of local TV investment. So I think everybody talks about addressability with around data and measurement and it's sort of the advanced world. You're going to see a significant transformation over the next 24 months in the local marketplace relative to those same resources that can be deployed at a DMA market level.